Hi, so in this video I want to talk about concepts on some ideas that I kind of had, and I think it would make for some interesting thoughts. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about this concept and feeling um, of emotional, a sort of emotional direction. And what I mean by this is when dealing or when uh, having an, how would I, okay, whenever there is some, let's just say, situation or some type of uh, idea or concept where there's some kind of distinguishing characteristic that is required, I think there is this idea of an emotional cadence. There is a type of emotional, um, you could say, a sort of culmination, or a sort of, not necessarily a culmination, but rather a cadence. There is, a going up and a sort of, yeah, cadence. That's what you could call it. Now, what this means is that with this type of emotional cadence, it can serve as a heading, because with this, there you could it can work as a sharp way of metaphysical judgment and discernment, and it can work in a very accurate and perfect sort of way. I think there might be an element of perfection to this, in the way that this just takes you and takes your mind and just puts it exactly in the right direction, in the right heading. So I think there is, to that, there is that idea of an, I think it's a lot more complicated than this. It's a complex feeling, but there is, to put it in a very simple way, there is a sort of cadence to it. So I think that is a very powerful way of intuition when it comes to a sort of that finding that absolute right judgment and discernment on a certain, any kind of a situation or something where you need that kind of a, that right ability to discern and pick, whatever is, finding the right aesthetic and finding the the how would I, wow, this is not going as well as I thought. Okay, to discern the, what is the word that I'm looking for, um, let's just say to discern. I think that explains it enough, because if I get stuck on this right now, it will. So okay, and that's one thing that I wanted to talk about. The next concept that I want to talk about is, it's this, I think, in a human being, in a person, it's a very beautiful quality for a person to be vulnerable and to be fragile in that way. Because truly great emotions can be felt when a human has that kind of fragile, um, yeah, has that fragile nature in a way. Now, that can lead to so many great, powerful, and positive emotions, but it also leaves us in a state where we have to also protect ourselves. So I think one of the ways, I was just kind of metaphorically thinking about this, is to sort of think, to just, and this kind of goes with the discernment that I was previously talking about. in the sense that only letting the right things in and discarding everything else. So I kind of, in a metaphorical way, I was thinking of it as like a pane of glass where, well, the glass is fragile, but it, the things that are not desirable can just pass through it like a beam of light. So in the sense that all the not good things are just passing through it, and but it doesn't shatter the glass because it just does not, it is just not affected by this. And I think in a sense it has to be to, I think that sort of fragile emotions should, if it leaves a person, if a person becomes hard-hearted, I think it's a very cynical and a very, it's just, it's just not good. So to, I think it's very important to retain that vulnerability. And I think with this, it's a great way to be able to stay vulnerable, to stay open to great positive experiences by sharing that vulnerability and sharing that fragile state, and at the same time not be affected by the negative stuff. So I think, yeah, I think it can, I think that might be a good way to retain that possibility of being, yeah, of being open to, yeah, being open in that way. Yes. So yeah, like, this was not how well I was expecting to articulate this video, but hopefully it still kind of got the message across. And yeah, if you have any of your own thoughts on this, let me know. I think, yeah, not a, this wasn't the best way of articulating this video, but whatever. It's at least, yeah, it talked about it, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next video.